Team at Tannadice for the climax of United's Glory Trail this evening at 7:30 here on Grampian.
Hello. Well, we're both set for the game, and now here's North tonight with a UEFA Cup special.
Tannadice Park in Dundee, the setting tonight for what promises to be a classic match between Dundee United and the Swedish side Gothenburg. It's the second leg of the UEFA Cup Final with the Tayside club trailing by a single goal. Can they pull it back and take their place in Scottish and European footballing history? In this special edition of North Tonight, we're going to bring you the build-up to the game, helped by our reporter who's followed the club throughout their European campaign. Alan Saunders reports now from Tannadice.
Well, as the moment of truth approaches for Dundee United, the tension here is almost unbearable. As you can see, the fans are pouring in at the moment, hoping to cheer their team on to victory and the UEFA Cup. One thing in Dundee United's favour is the pitch. It's in absolutely superb condition, which is a far cry from the shocker they played on in the Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg. That should suit Jim McLean's men, and they should be able to turn on the type of football that they have shown during the run-up to this final. When you look at the record in Europe, there appears to be no reason why United can't become the first Scottish club to win the UEFA Cup, because they've lost only 5 times at home in more than 30 ties. The big shock in the team news is that Paul Hegarty and Eamon Bannon have been left out. They've been key figures in the Tannadice success story over the years. The lineup for tonight's match is Thompson, Holt, Clark, Neri, Malpass, Kirkwood, McAnally, Redford, Gallagher, Ferguson and Sturrock. This morning, Jim McLean told me about the toughest decision he's had to face in years.
In Paul Hegarty's case, which has gone against him more than anything, is the fact that in Gothenburg he had to come off with an injury. And it really was only a spasm, and in the Hamilton game it was exactly the same. When he's getting a wee knock at the moment, his muscles are going into spasm, and with that question mark, that was the main reason I didn't play him on Saturday and I did decide to play John Clark, because to be completely honest, it's very, very close anyway, and a little thing like that just sways you one way or another. But previously I've been going for Paul Hegarty's experience against John Clark, but in this case tonight I feel that John Clark's pace against Nilsson, if he plays, is going to be a vital factor. In Eamon Bannon's case, I just feel that the World Cup has really taken its toll all season, and on Saturday he just looked to me to be completely played out, and I feel that one or two of them looked not just as bad as Eamon, but it could well be that some of them may well be struggling a wee bit at the moment, and I definitely want to have some fresh legs in, and with that in mind I'm bringing in Billy Kirkwood.
What are your thoughts on the game?
Well, obviously it's all down to how well we play, as it always is. We can look about and blame other factors for Saturday, but at the end of the day, if we've as many players playing as well below the standards they're capable of as we had on Saturday, then we've no chance. But I wouldn't expect that here at Tannadice, and with the help of the crowd, I expect that they'll be breathing fire when they come out the tunnel tonight, and with that sort of feeling, knowing that we did let everybody down on Saturday, I don't see that happening again here at Tannadice, and I expect that, OK, Gothenburg's a good side, but if we're given a fair share of the breaks, which we most certainly didn't get on Saturday, then we'll not let anybody down tonight.
Well, the crowd is still pouring in, and the drama is really just building up here. With me is Archie Knox, the Manchester United manager, who was in Gothenburg and watched the two teams play. Archie, first of all, thoughts on Jim McLean's selection?
Well, it's unfortunate that Paul Hegarty and Eamon Bannon are out of the team, because experience in this type of tie or in a final counts for a lot, but obviously Jim has his reasons for whether it's injury, nobody knows at this stage, but it's unfortunate that these two are out of the team.
Obviously very useful players, though, to have even on the subs bench.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to go on and hopefully they get back in the game right away, and maybe in a later stage they can be used. both players, and certainly I'm sure they will be.
How would you like to see United play this one?
Well, Gothenburg, I've seen them 3 times this season, and they're a really good European team. Strong, physical, athletic team, athletic players. They won't be upset at all by coming here and playing. They've gone and played really well in Milan and Inter Milan, so they've got good experience in their team, and being a goal ahead then gives them just a wee cushion. They know that they can allow Dundee United to come at them quite a bit and maybe catch them in the breaks, and they've got the players to do that. So hopefully United will just have to be careful in how they approach the early part of it. Be aggressive, be positive in what they're doing, and hopefully they can get an early goal that'll settle them and maybe upset the Swedes.
Gothenburg look like a side that could even handle the physical side of the game.
Oh, there's absolutely no doubt about that. They can certainly do that. They're all strong players, and as I said, good athletic players, players that can take the knocks, and players that will be able to dish it out too. So the physical thing will not upset them at all.
What about players that worry you up front?
Well, the 2 players up front, the lad Nielsen, Lennart Nielsen and Pettersson, the 2 games I've seen them previous have been outstanding and are well suited to playing on the break. In particular, the lad Nielsen, who's really quick. So United will have to be on their toes as far as that's concerned.
Do you think that's part of the reason why Jim McLean possibly left out Paul Hegarty, just because of the pace of Nielsen?
Well, I think that could possibly be the case. We really don't know. We're only guessing at that, but obviously Jim has his reasons for that. But I think they'll be able to handle that too. You know, then Davy Neary, there's not a better player than Davy Neary in terms of these situations, and in particular in a game like this, that his experience will count for a lot, and his ability and his talent will count for even more.
What about the crowd? How important?
Oh, the crowd, I mean, I think there's no any doubt about what the crowd will be fully behind them tonight, and a lot more so than what the Swedes had for themselves in Gothenburg. So the United crowd, if they can get behind United and keep with them the whole night, then hopefully we'll see the UEFA Cup in Scotland for the first time.
Let's hope so, Archie. Thank you very much.
Right, thanks, Alan.
Alan Saunders talking there with Archie Knox. Well, it's been a memorable season for Dundee United, acknowledged throughout the game as veteran European campaigners. And their past achievements have been surpassed this season as they've encountered fresh glory.
Dundee United's historic year in Europe began 9 months and several thousand miles ago in France last September. A 1-0 defeat by RC Lens was overturned at Tannadice a fortnight later when Tommy Coyne and Ralph Milne, 2 players transferred during the season, hit the vital goals. The second round took United behind the Iron Curtain, familiar territory for them over the years, to face Universitatea Craiova of Romania. This time the hard work was done in the first leg at Tannadice. A Milne corner was nodded down by Clark, and Ian Redford was on the spot to turn the ball home. After that, it looked as if Rakolta in the Craiova goal would rob the home side of a convincing lead. A well-directed Redford header was superbly saved. Then a Bowman shot was acrobatically fisted clear. But in the last 10 minutes, the 2 vital goals came. A Bannon corner found the head of Paul Hegarty's outstanding deputy John Clark, and the keeper had no chance. Then in the dying seconds, a great Malpass run-in shot saw the ball rebound to Redford, who nodded home his second. It was the same story in the third round against Hajduk Split, the Tannadice men building a solid lead to take to Yugoslavia.
Malpass up into the wind. Sturrock is wide. Bannon's challenge was positive. There's the cross, the keeper in trouble. A great chance, and it's a goal. An important breakthrough for Dundee United. United pushing extra men in the box as Sturrock does a quick about turn, trying to get it to his right foot, trying to hook it across. Clark's there, the goal! John Clark, 2-0.
That victory threw up the quarter-final tie all Britain wanted to see. The millionaires of Barcelona against Jim McLean's squad of cut-price bargain buys. And there was an early surprise awaiting the Spaniards in the first leg at Tannadice.
Gallagher was hoping to get free on the right, but the United fans encouraged as the throw is quickly taken towards Sturrock. There's Gallagher. A perfect start for Dundee United.
Barcelona had their moments, but in the magnificent setting of the Nou Camp Stadium, it was a supremely confident United side which produced one of Scotland's best ever performances in Europe. Goals by John Clark and Iain Ferguson carried United into the semi-final. The first leg with Borussia Mönchengladbach ended in a disappointing goalless draw at Tannadice, putting the West Germans in the driving seat as far as most observers were concerned. But once again, United crossed the continent to prove the experts wrong.
And Neri has joined Paul Hegarty in the box. Camps beats it out. There's Bannon. The chance is on, and there's Ferguson. And Dundee United have scored. The goal stands. Here's Kevin Gallagher. He's away from Herlofsson. Can he do it all by himself? Here's Redford waiting in the middle. Here's Gallagher. Now Redford, a great chance for United second. There's Redford. Yes!
With Gothenburg leading 1-0 from the first leg in Sweden, the pressure will be very much on the Dundee United strikers. Leading scorer Iain Ferguson, who missed the first leg in Gothenburg because of suspension, and internationalist Paul Sturrock, who starred against Barcelona and Borussia, are well aware of that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on everybody because obviously we're a goal behind. We've got to get goals to somewhere, and obviously the strikers, people mainly look at the forwards to score the goals, but I think there's maybe 6 or 7 in the team capable of scoring goals. So I mean, in that sense, I don't think we have to worry. I think goals can come from every department of the team, so the strikers are under any more pressure than anybody else.
How difficult a defence do you think they're going to be to play against?
Well, I think they've proved themselves time and time again in Europe with their results, you know, away from home and at home, that they are very strong defensively. I think the style of play, playing a 4-4-2, and their 2 centre-backs are really experienced players, and it'll be very difficult. They're not coming here to come charging at us tomorrow night. They'll be sitting back trying to catch us, which is going to make it more difficult for us as well.
If there was any UEFA Cup tie that you could pick to repeat the same performance, which one would it be that you think would give you victory?
Well, I think anyone, really. I mean, I've only played in 2. I think we've did exactly what's been asked of us in Europe this year, and obviously the Barcelona game and the Borussia game were the ones that stick in people's minds, but it's totally different again. I mean, we're at home the second leg. We knew we had to go and sort of get a result over in Barcelona and Borussia. I think any sort of performance in Europe this year has been good, and a repeat of any of them will do, because obviously we've got through the other rounds. So if we get a repeat of any of them, we'll be quite happy.
And how are the players feeling about it all?
Well, a wee bit down after Saturday, I think, but obviously it's doubly important that we lift ourselves now, and I'm really hopeful that the crowd get behind us, you know, and even if we're struggling in the first 10, 15 minutes, that they keep with us, and give us the confidence to keep playing the whole 90 minutes.
The thoughts of United's strike force. Well, we'll take a break there, but join us in a couple of minutes for more atmosphere from the game of the season.
Most of us are missing a third of the fibre we should be getting every day. A bowl of Kellogg's All Bran can make all the difference.
So what happened, lady?
He was sitting on the wall. He slipped and cracked up.
Yeah, but did he fall? Or was he pushed?
Who are the jokers in the fancy dress?
The King's men. They're useless.
What's the score, Bernie?
Without calcium, protein, and vitamins, anybody's gonna go to pieces.
Who's that?
It's the milkman.
It's worth a try.
Oh, Humphrey.
You pulled yourself together, Dumpty.
Milk. What more could a body ask for?
Well, I discovered Juggling Janet in this dingy little bar. I said, let me be your agent, love. I'll make you a megastar. Well, I got contacts, haven't I? So I got her booked in a place with class. The governor seemed well pleased. And when I took the normal agent's fee, I was laughing all the way to the leads. Well, I got me overheads to consider, haven't I? See, I got an account called Liquid Gold. Now, I know that sounds quite funny, but it means the leads takes your proceeds and adds on extra money. I was quids in with the leads. But then she cries, your fee's too high. It's more than all the others. I said, who told you that, my dear? She said, oh, my little brothers. Nice boys. Gave me a lift to the leads. Well, you can get your wedge out instantly if you have an urgent yearning. And even if it's not there long, you know it's still been earning.
Liquid Gold now pays up to 7 3/4% for bigger savers, so laugh all the way to the leads.
So I can now reveal that the murderer is
It stopped. You didn't set the video properly.
That is not the football.
Perhaps I set the wrong channel.
Getting your video programming wrong can be most irritating. That's why Panasonic have developed this ingenious method. The digital scanner reads the channel, date, time and duration, and then flashes them into our slim, compact video, a bit like science fiction. The picture will be pretty good and pretty easy to get right every time. The new remote control G21 from Panasonic. We think we've thought of everything.
Tayside Solicitors Property Centre has over 1,000 properties to choose from. The property guide is available from any solicitors or the centre at Whitehall Crescent, Dundee.
Welcome back. We've been joined now by a Scotsman who knows all about footballing success in Europe. He's Billy McNeill, who as captain of Celtic was the first British player to get his hands on a European trophy. Can David Neary follow in his footsteps? Billy McNeill is talking now with Frank Gilfeather.
Billy McNeill, in fact, it was 20 years ago next week that you won the European Cup. Now, what kind of feelings will be going through the minds and the hearts of those Dundee United players tonight?
Well, it is 20 years, Frank, but it seems like yesterday. I think they'll appreciate the fact that they're on the threshold of going into the glory books, because no one's ever won the UEFA Cup for Scotland before, and for Dundee United to do it, it would be great. It'd make them into a truly acknowledged big club, which I think is something that they deserve and something they've worked long and hard to achieve.
Now, can we take it as read that the players will have shoved the disappointment of the Scottish Cup final to the backs of their minds completely?
Well, I hope they have, Frank, because it wasn't a good performance by Dundee United on Saturday. I'm sure Jim will have laid down the rules just a bit more severely this time. I'm quite convinced that those players will also appreciate that a good performance is essential to wipe out that defeat. It may well have been that this game was on their minds at Hampden this Saturday, and perhaps they couldn't give a good account of themselves because of that. I would think that once they go on the field, the adrenaline will start pumping, the crowd will get on their side, and I think they'll forget all about the woes and problems that they encountered on Saturday. I'm sure of that.
Of course, Billy, they're without two very experienced European campaigners tonight, Bannon and Hegarty. And for whatever reason, it's probably been, at least in one instance, a fairly courageous decision by Jim McLean to leave a player out like that.
Well, I think it has been a courageous decision, because the easiest thing in Jim's mind would have been to sympathise with the fact that these lads have been great servants to him. He's gone more positively in that. He's brought in some younger players, younger, fresher legs. Eamon Bannon on Saturday was particularly disappointing, Frank. He didn't seem as though he involved himself in the game an awful lot, and it looked as though a long, hard season had taken its toll on him. But obviously you've got players there who can turn the game in United's favour. I think that's going to be very important to him tonight. They've got front players that are capable of taking a slip, maybe creating a chance almost out of nothing. And equally, the big boy Clark this season has weighed in with some very important goals. And I think that's always important. If you can score from a player who's not expected to score, it gives you a real bonus indeed.
Very briefly though, Billy, would you have any worries over Kevin Gallagher tonight?
Not Kevin Gallagher. My worries would be that the strength and running power of the Swedes might be a bit too much for them to cope with on the breakaways.
And just in a word, a prediction?
Well, I'm hopeful that they overcome the 1-0 deficit and bring that cup back to Scotland.
Let's hope so. Billy McNeill, thank you.
Well, our kick-off is not too long away and the atmosphere at Tannadice is electric, but for the moment we'll take a break and catch up with the day's news read now by Alan Fisher.
A helicopter with 19 people on board has been involved in a mid-air drama off Shetland. The Super Puma sent out a mayday after the pilot reported severe vibration. British International Helicopters, who are operating the aircraft for oil giant Shell, wouldn't confirm reports that this was due to it losing a tail rotor blade. 2 other helicopters were scrambled to escort the Super Puma to Unst, where it landed safely. The helicopter had been on a flight from Sombra to a North Sea installation. A man found brutally murdered 8 days ago on a quiet country road in North Yorkshire has been identified as being from Aberdeen. Relatives of Barry John Oldham, or Jackson as he was also known, travelled from northwest England this afternoon to identify his badly mutilated body. The 28-year-old was found dead near the market town of Stokesley hours after apparently taking the morning bus from Aberdeen to Newcastle on May the 11th. A ticket for the journey was found in his pocket, and detectives want to trace any of the passengers on that bus to find out whether he actually travelled. Jackson would probably have been dressed in grey with a gold neck chain and black shoes. An American court's thrown out a $20 million lawsuit raised on behalf of a widow whose husband died in the Chinook helicopter disaster. The federal court in Pennsylvania has dismissed the claim by Mrs. Sharon Jennings from Cleveland. But today the Aberdeen lawyer leading the consortium representing the families of 39 victims and the 2 survivors says he's not deterred. Mr. David Burnside says his consortium's always been advised to raise the action in the state court, not the federal one, and that's what they've done. An inquest opened today into the deaths of 2 airmen from RAF Lossiemouth killed when their light aircraft crashed on takeoff. Flight Sergeant Phil Scott and Corporal Martin Leipner died instantly when the plane burst into a ball of flames seconds after leaving Brunton Airfield in Northumberland on Sunday. Today's inquest at Alnwick opened but was adjourned till a later date. A Church of Scotland minister who turned to religion after serving a 9-year prison sentence for murdering his mother has won the backing of the Kirk's General Assembly to carry out an investigation into prison reform. Reverend James Nielsen says overcrowding has made conditions in Scottish jails intolerable. A man who kicked and punched a 13-year-old girl has been jailed for 3 years by a High Court judge. 23-year-old Paul Perini, described as being in custody at Craigdenane Hospital in Inverness, carried out the vicious attack on the girl in the village of Aldern near Nairn. Sentencing him after hearing psychiatric reports, Lord Ross, the Lord Justice Clerk, said Perini was potentially dangerous and the public must be protected. Journalists on Aberdeen's 2 daily newspapers have reached agreement with their employers over their new technology dispute. The NUJ Chapel at Aberdeen Journals have announced that following further talks with management, a settlement has been reached, and journalists on the Press and Journal and Evening Express will now undergo training on new technology newsroom equipment. The journalists had earlier failed in their attempt to get a court order banning management from sacking them over the dispute. Murray councillors have rejected a £1.5 million deal which would have given Elgin a new leisure and swimming pool complex for nothing. Part of the package involved planning permission being granted to a south-based development company to build a new food superstore next to the town's Highland League football ground. In return, the company was prepared to finance a new swimming pool on the south side of Elgin. Football and Celtic this afternoon paid out a record transfer fee for the club of £500,000 to sign central defender Mick McCarthy from Manchester City. 28-year-old McCarthy, a Republic of Ireland international, flew to Glasgow to complete a medical before signing.
Thanks, Alan. And as usual, for the weather details, with hopefully a prediction about conditions in Dundee over the next couple of hours, we join Ian Davey.
Yes, well, it's looking good in Dundee for the next couple of hours. Temperatures around about 12 Celsius there now, falling to 9 or 10 through the game. But there'll be a moderate northerly breeze blowing, and it should stay dry through the night. Take a look at the satellite picture and you'll be able to see that there's been a lot of clear weather, especially over the west of Scotland today. Some cloud coming down towards the east coast now, though. Onto the surface chart, and you'll see we've got this high pressure area still near us, and that's bringing warm air up over the top through Iceland, and in fact I think we'll see warmer air coming down over us tomorrow. In fact, the temperatures in southeast Iceland this afternoon got up to 19 Celsius. We won't see anything quite as high as that. In the picture in more detail tomorrow morning, I think we will see that cloud along the eastern coast thickening up a bit, perhaps just the odd spot of drizzle, but I wouldn't think too much in the way of drizzle there. Temperatures down to around about 6 degrees Celsius. Cooler over in the west here though, down to about 2, where skies will be generally clear and it'll be bright in the morning. For the afternoon, I think we'll see quite a sunny day down in the southwest here, bright intervals breaking through in the east, and in some of these spots over in the southwest, temperatures getting up to 17 Celsius. More like 13 Celsius though, where that fresh northerly breeze affects that northeastern coast there, so a little bit better than today.
Thanks, Ian. Well, the crowds are still pouring into Tannadice for what must be the biggest sporting occasion ever on Tayside. Short time ago, Ron Thompson asked some of them for their predictions about the result.
1-1.
Yes.
1-1.
1-1. It's enough to
That's
win.
enough to us.
You're enjoying Dundee, are you?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
beautiful country and friendly people.
Jim McLean's a great tactician. I think this is when you see the best of them, you know, when their back's against the wall. And I think it's great for Scottish football, you know. I mean, take the size of Dundee, you know, they beat the best, and I think tonight the boys will do the job for them.
This team is the best in the world.
Is it?
Yes, I promise you. I promise.
That's fantastic. How long did that take?
5 minutes.
Will it come off all right?
Hope so, anyway.
Well, what's the result going to be tonight?
3-0.
2-1. 2-1 to Gothenburg. I think so. You're going to win, are you?
Yeah, of course.
Why do you say of course?
Because they win. We're the best team in the world.
You're going to win?
Very nice here.
Do you feel confident tonight?
Yes, I do. Yes, yes.
How confident?
I think it'll be 2-0 United. Yeah.
What do you think, sir?
3-1 the final score.
What makes you so confident?
I'm confident. Here, anyway.
We sat there on Saturday in front of 52,000 and watched the biggest lot of rubbish that we've ever seen. So it's bound to be the night. Bound to be.
That's an unusual scarf you've got. Tell me about that.
Well, that's an old scarf. It's about 1961, 1962. It's been to lots and lots of matches, and it had to come out. I don't usually bring it out just for league matches, but it had to come out for the European matches, and it's been at every European match at Tannadice this season.
And you've been with it?
I have. It was at Gothenburg, and I wasn't too lucky there, but that was away from home, and I think tonight, it's the night for United to become champions.
Well, the sun's shining, blue skies, lots of smiling faces, and I just love the guy with the tangerine makeup. He's got guts. Well, that takes us to the end of this special edition of North Tonight. Do stay with us here on Grampian for full coverage of the match. And, of course, we'll be back at 6 o'clock tomorrow with a full report. But for this evening, all that remains is to send every good wish from everybody here, right down to Dundee United. From all of us to you, good night.